Right there it is, the Rose Garden. They're waiting on the president to come out and award posthumously the Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk, actually to Erica Kirk in Charlie's absence. And I noticed that, with this new floor in the Rose Garden, you get probably 4 or 5 times more people in there. Let's go to John Solomon. John, you're still with us, I hope. Will the left finally relent and say Charlie Kirk was everything that we know he was, or are they going to continue to look for reasons why, again, this is their words, reasons why Charlie was assassinated, his own words?
Yeah, the left won't stop because they don't have anything to offer positive right now to America. They don't have any policies that resonate powerfully with the majority of Americans, and so they spend their time denigrating those who found connections with America in middle America. And I think Charlie, I think of something that Charlie said a couple of times to me, and he said it publicly many times, and that was that freedom doesn't mean anything unless you can back it up with personal responsibility, meaning you had to personally use that freedom for good. You had to make sure in this country that you did good with it. And I think the left has used their freedom in the last few years to terrorize us, to tell us mistruths, to try to erode the truths that this country is built on. You saw Senator Tim Kaine do that the other day, saying, no, you don't get your rights from God, you get them from government, which is something I think would make our founding fathers roll over in their grave. He realized that free speech came with also the responsibility to use it responsibly. And I think that the left right now is the antithesis of all that Charlie stood for, what he believed in. And the more they denigrate him, believe it or not, the more they're building him up. Everything that they do to chop him down is actually making his reach and his impact larger in America. They're literally self-defeating their purpose. And I take joy in watching them fail at what they're doing.
Yeah, we just saw Susie Wiles take her seat in the front row, screen left, so that would indicate Trump will be coming out in just a few minutes.
He'll be out in a second.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the most heartwarming things about this, and there's so many bad things losing Charlie, but one of the positive things is the number, and it keeps rising. Somewhere around 180,000 requests for chapters around the world, really.
It's amazing.
For TPUSA. This is TPUSA. Is there going to be a bigger political force in America or maybe the world, John?
Well, I think it's going to be substantial for a long time to come. It's in good hands.
Well, let me rephrase this. Let me rephrase this. John Solomon knows just about everyone there is to know. What's going to be more powerful? What's going to be more influential? TPUSA or the RNC?
Oh, I think it's already been answered. TPUSA was far more important to Trump's win in 2024 and will continue to be because they're prospecting the next generation of voters, and the RNC is often, in those second and third generation of voters deeper into their political lives. There's nothing more important than what TPUSA has been doing to create connectivity between the values of the conservative movement and the interests of young people. Making it cool to be conservative again, making it okay to believe in freedom and God and your family and being a responsible man or responsible woman. They made it culturally fashionable again after 2 decades of the left trying to demean that viewpoint. And that is a very powerful force because culture is always upstream from politics. Culture sets the politics of a country. Charlie understood that, and he went to fix the culture so that politics could be fixed. And I think that legacy will live on in TPUSA for a very long time. We'll be retired. It'll still be very powerful in America.
Yeah, we'll be very proud of this day. We're here. Charlie Kirk will be proud of this day because yesterday President Trump brought at least the temporary peace to the Middle East. People said that it wasn't going to happen. And I am so ticked off at the left, and actually some people on the right as well, who are creating sort of the divisiveness under Charlie, whether he was pro-Israel at the end or not. And they're pushing this narrative of, he was getting off the Israel bandwagon. When you would know better than I would, John. I mean, I'm on the honorary board of TPUSA, but I didn't have this conversation with Charlie the way you may have had. Where was he with Israel, and what would he say to this peace agreement?
I think he understood that biblically the Israelis and the Jews are a chosen people and that he wanted to honor that. He also wanted to make sure that the use of force that Israel used didn't go beyond what was necessary to win the battle between good and evil. And I think he was looking to find where that delimiter was. I remember on the night that Trump bombed Iran, he was very concerned that this was going to be a war. And I came out and showed him, nope, this is a limited engagement. And within a day, Charlie felt very comfortable with what the president did. It comes from a generation of conservative thinkers that doesn't think we have to bomb everything to win. And he has a president in Donald Trump that believes that. Most of what we achieved in the Middle East peace occurred without bloodshed and without us having to use military force. Now, we used some. We had to take the nuclear weapons off the table. We had to neuter some of Iran's proxies so we could get to a point where a conversation could occur. But we didn't put boots on the ground. We didn't create a long war like Afghanistan and Iraq was. And I think Charlie was beginning to appreciate that Trump could use power surgically, military power, but not get us into a war. And I think that impressed him. I think on Israel, he was just fine. And I don't think he was going to abandon Israel. But also, Charlie was never to give anyone a free pass. He would correct me if he saw something that he thought, and he did on stage that day. And I loved it. I loved the fact that he saw it as something bigger than I was talking about. I think that's what made Charlie so special.
Yeah. We just trying to catch people up. I believe I had just read, unconfirmed, that there was Trump, the administration or the military took out another one of those narco-terrorist boats.
They did today
from Venezuela. Just briefly, a little earlier. Yeah, you have confirmation of that, John?
We do. There was confirmed by the Department of War a little while ago. President Trump also confirmed it. I think it's a fifth or sixth boat now that's been taken out. Hey, listen, these narco-terrorists have been declared terrorists, and they're trying to ship poison into our country that will kill our young adults. That's what they've been doing for the last 10 years, and President Trump has decided that on a surgical basis he'll blow these boats up before the poison gets to our shore. And you look at the polling, Americans, by a majority, support what the president's doing. So he is lockstep with the Republicans. It's not a big, long war. We're not putting boots on the ground in Venezuela or in the cartels permanently, but using that surgical use of power, I think, is very popular right now because there's hardly a person I've met in America that doesn't know someone who didn't die from the scourge of the opioid and drug crisis that these cartels have imposed on America, often with China's assistance. So I think what the president's doing today, confirming he did do it today, again, is very popular. It hits right where Americans want their president to be right now.
What do you think, John? You're so tapped in to the administration and what they're thinking because you have great sources. What do you think is the I wouldn't call it a game, playing a little poker game with Putin? Zelensky, we're gonna give you your Tomahawks. We're maybe gonna let you use them the way you want to use them, and by the way, we're gonna share some intel on Putin's energy infrastructure in Russia. Seems a little bit of a dangerous game to play, but what are your thoughts on this?
You know, when you go to the art of the deal, President Trump always realized the two key components: know what your enemy wants and know what he fears most. And I think Donald Trump knows what Putin wants. Putin wants to be welcomed back into the world order as something other than a pariah, which right now he's not going to get. And what does he fear? He fears being humiliated and dressed down. And the president dangles something that could really humiliate Putin. If he hit the mother of all sanctions and froze the central bank of Russia, which, by the way, nothing moves through Russia except through the central bank, and he froze all of the oligarchs' monies that really is Putin's money, and the oligarchs are just hiding it, he would humiliate Putin on the world stage. Putin would have bread lines in Russia in a few days. And I think the president vacillates between those 2 points. The missiles are one thing. That's a Zelensky play. There is a little bit of U.S. targeting going in right now on some of those missiles. But at the end of the day, he knows what Putin fears most, which is being humiliated on the world stage and not having a chance to return to it. And I think he's left both doors open, and he's let Putin twist in this. Yep. And I think in the last few days, Putin didn't weigh in on the Israel-Hamas deal. He was very quiet, as was Iran. That is a sign that Iran and Russia, which often engage in important information warfare on events like this, they're quiet because they're reevaluating their options. Good. I think if I'm Vladimir Putin,
that's good.
I think Vladimir Putin wants to make a deal. Yeah. He isn't there yet, but he'll get there.
John, we're going to try and squeeze in a quick break. But, folks, if you look to the left of the screen of that shot, you just saw Andrew Kolvet, who is Charlie Kirk's executive producer, Jack Posobiec there as well, attending the
Betty Johnson's there. Good group.
The ceremony. A good group. Good MAGA group there. Look, quick break, and if this starts, we will break out of the break. So we'll be right back, folks.